Hi readers, welcome to Novels with Nat. In today's video, I want to see how well Goodreads really knows me. Okay, so the other day I was just scrolling on Goodreads and I came across their sort of recommendations tab. I hadn't really looked at it in too great detail before, so I looked through and I don't know why my perception was that they just give you recommendations of like popular books or books that a lot of people are reading or rating highly. But the more I looked at it, they give you recommendations based off of particular shelves that you've created on Goodreads. And so you can look at recommendations that are similar to whatever books you've shelved in however many shelves you have. And so I thought it would be fun in this video to react to or take a look at the recommendations that they have given me and see how well they've done and maybe see what percentage of those books I'm actually interested in reading. So I was thinking in order to do this, I'm going to do it based off of my shelf for all of the books that I read in 2024. So the most recent full reading year, I feel like that will give a little bit more data to work with than 2025 because we're only about halfway, a little less than halfway through the year. So I am very curious to see what their algorithm is going to suggest for me and how well it does at suggesting and recommending books. So let's take a look and see what we've got. Okay, so I have the recommendations up on my computer, and I thought we could go through them and see which ones I'm interested in. So what I find interesting is that they have, when you go over each book, it tells you which books that you shelved previously that they're basing this recommendation off of. So first we have The Hunger Games, and it's saying that they're recommending this to me because I read Yellowface, Notes on an Execution, and Word Slut, which I find kind of an odd combo. I don't really see the connection between those books and Hunger Games. But nonetheless, I am interested in reading Hunger Games. I would really like to read it. I never have, surprisingly. And I'm actually hoping to get to it this month. I would really like to read the 3 original books and then the 2 newer books that have come out. So that one is a success. I would like to read it. I'm just not sure why they recommended it to me based on those books, but nonetheless, I do want to read that one. Okay, next we have James. I've heard a lot about this book. I think it was really popular earlier this year or maybe end of last year. To be honest, I don't really know anything about it. It's a reimagining of Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Yeah, to be honest, I'm not really interested in that one. It just doesn't appeal to me. Okay, and then we have a romance. Abby Jimenez, Part of Your World. I'm interested why they're recommending this because I did not read any romances last year. They're recommending it based off, again, Yellowface, Such a Fun Age, and Bye Baby. Interesting. I don't think I am interested in that one though. Okay, and then we have a Jennifer Hillier book, Little Secrets. I have read The Butcher and Jar of Hearts by this author, and I did enjoy them. Jar of Hearts I definitely enjoyed more. But let's see what this one is about. Okay, so this book was not previously on my TBR or my radar at all, but that does sound really good. So I think I will put that on my TBR. I am definitely interested in reading it. They're recommending it based off of The Wife Between Us, which I read last year. I did enjoy it a lot. Oh wow, this book has a 4.22 average rating, so that's really high. So yeah, I think I will add that one to my TBR. So if anything else fails, at least I got one good recommendation from this video, so I'm happy with that. Okay, and then we have All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker. This, from my understanding, is like a literary book with elements of mystery woven in. So they're recommending it to me based on having read Notes on an Execution, Yellowface, Bye Baby, Just Another Missing Person, and Such a Fun Age. So that's a definite unique mix of books that they're basing this recommendation off of, which intrigues me. I do want to read this book. I've heard great things. I think a booktuber, Emily Fox, I believe, is her name. She really enjoyed this book, and I heard her speaking about it. So I would like to get to this one. Oh, it looks like it takes place in 1975, so maybe like a bit of a historical fiction aspect to it. It has a 4.28 average rating, so that's pretty high. So yeah, I definitely would like to check this one out. Okay, so based off of the first row, I'm interested in 3 of the 5. So that's pretty good so far. We're on a good track. Let's continue and see what else they have. Okay, this looks promising too. I would like to read Wild Dark Shore. I've heard great things about this. Gabby Reads really enjoys this author. I do think that I want to start with this author's previous book. I think it's called Once There Were Wolves, Once We Were Wolves, something like that. Um, but I would like to read this one as well. I think this author writes sort of like mysteries that are very heavily focused on the environment and nature, from my understanding. So that is intriguing. I definitely want to get to this one eventually. Okay, and then we have I Who Have Never Known Men. I really want to read this one. I think this one is about a group of women who are being held underground in a cage and they've never known men, something along those lines, like a dystopian novel. Really interesting premise. I really want to get to this one. So I do have this one currently on my TBR. They are recommending this one again based on Notes on an Execution, Yellowface, Word Slut, and Such a Fun Age. So it seems, I mean, last year I read about like 140 books, I think, and they seem to be recommending all of these books based off of a small selection or a small handful of those books, which is interesting. But so far, I am interested in the books they are suggesting, so that's fine. Okay, and then we have Alice Feeney, His and Hers. I have given Alice Feeney 3 chances. I read Daisy Darker, Rock, Paper, Scissors, and Sometimes I Lie, and I really didn't enjoy any of those 3, so I just feel like Alice Feeney isn't the author for me. I'm not interested in this one. I don't think I'm going to pick up any more Alice Feeney books unless it has some kind of like massive hype or someone has really spoken really highly of one of her books. I probably won't read her again. Okay, and then we have another thriller, That's Not My Name. This one I think is young adult, which is why I didn't put it on my TBR when it came out. So I probably won't add it. I'm just not really into young adult books. I never tend to enjoy them as much as adult books, so not interested in that one. The Gracier. I have not heard of this book before. Okay, the premise seems really odd, just at a glance. So I don't think I'm gonna put this one on my TBR. There's just too many other books that I really want to get to. Okay, so from the second row, I'm interested in 2 of the 5. Okay, and then we have a book called The Rachel Incident. I have not heard of this one. Again, they're recommending it based off of these 3 books, which is really interesting. I read so many books last year, and they're just using such a small selection to recommend from. Yeah, this one I don't think I'm interested in either. Next, we have The Drowning Woman. This one is currently on my physical TBR. I have a copy of this one, so I'm definitely going to be reading it. Okay, we've got a new book from here. They're recommending it based off of Pretty Baby by Mary Kubica. I did enjoy that one. I like this author a lot. So yeah, I definitely will read The Drowning Woman. Next, we have Husbands and Lovers. Never heard of this one either. I'm interested why I'm getting recommended a lot of like books that seem to be more like literary fiction, but I don't read a ton of literary fiction, which is interesting. I read mostly thrillers last year. Yeah, this one again just doesn't sound too interesting to me. Also, this is a bit of a side note, but I don't like it when the synopsis of a book is this long. Like, it's a commitment just to find out what the book is about to read it. It's just not my preference. I think you have to be more concise with the synopsis. You have to give the reader the ability to get a gist of what the book is about in like less than a minute. Okay, and then we have another romance by Christina Lauren. Again, I'm not a romance reader. I'm not sure why I'm getting recommended so many romance books, but not going to read that one. Same with this one, Ellen Hildebrand, not interested. So from this row, I'm just interested in 1 of the 5. Okay, in the next row, we have Blue Sisters by Coco Mellers. This one is a literary fiction that I am interested in. I've heard great things about it. It's about, I think, a group of four sisters who, I think there's a death in the family, and it just is exploring their sort of family dynamic and how they deal with that loss. I am interested in this one. I don't have super high hopes just because I know it's not my genre typically, but I will check that one out for sure. Then we have Tom Lake by Anne Patchett. Not interested. Good Material by Dolly Alderton. I did have a copy of this book. I got it in from a library sale actually, but as time went on, I just wasn't interested. I wasn't gravitating towards it, so I did end up putting it into a little free library somewhere. So hopefully somebody else found it and is enjoying it. And we have The Social Climber. I've never heard of this either. I don't know. I feel like when it comes to books that I've never heard of by authors that I've never read from, I'm very hesitant to pick them up just because I'm getting more and more picky when it comes to mysteries and thrillers. And I feel like it's such a gamble to try someone new. So unless someone who I know has similar reading taste to me has recommended it, or if I've seen it a lot on Goodreads or YouTube or whatever, I'm not super inclined to just pick up a book based off of only seeing it on this list from Goodreads. So I probably am not going to read that one. Same goes for this. I have no clue what this is. Penance. I'm not interested in that one either. Okay, so just one book from this row that I'm interested in. And this next row is not looking super promising either. So we have expiration dates. Again, another romance. I don't read romance, so I don't know why I'm getting recommended them based off of these books, which are Thriller for Just Another Missing Person. Bye Baby is like a literary mystery, and then Such a Fun Age is a literary fiction. So none of those are even romances, but not gonna read expiration dates. Butter, I don't know what this is. A cult Japanese bestseller. Okay, just the first line does intrigue me. It says, a cult Japanese bestseller about a female gourmet cook and serial killer. Honestly, that already drew me in. I love a female main character. I like serial killer thrillers, and I also love cooking and anything relating to chefs. So this one I might add to my TBR. I might check it out. Japanese translations are always fun. I do enjoy them. So I might give it a shot. We might add butter to our TBR. Okay, and then we have You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose. I have heard awful things about this book. Let's see what the rating is. Yeah, 3.35, so it's a pretty low rating. I have read a handful of Geneva Rose books and I have not really enjoyed any of them, so I'm not going to pick that one up. This one is John Green's newest book, Everything is Tuberculosis. Do I need to read an entire book on tuberculosis? Probably not. So I don't think I'm going to read this one, but I have heard a couple of people have read it and have enjoyed it and got a lot out of it. So I don't think it's a bad book. I just don't think I'm personally super interested in it. And then last we have All in Her Head. Okay, yeah. So this one is a book of women's health, which I have read a couple of books about that topic last year. So I might add this one to my TBR next time I'm in the mood to pick up another book on the topic. So it looks like on this row we have two books that I'm interested in. Both of them I had not heard of before, but I would be interested to add them to my TBR. So that was fairly successful. Okay, and then we have another John Green book. I have not heard of this one. I do not know what it's about. Oh, it's a collection of personal essays. I don't typically read essay collections, they're just not my thing. Probably not going to read that one. Invisible Woman. Okay, this one does sound interesting. This one seems to be talking about data and as it pertains to healthcare, education, public policy. We rely on numbers to allocate resources and make crucial decisions, excuse me. But so much data fails to take into account gender because it treats men as the default. Okay, this one does sound really interesting. I think it might be touching on the idea that so much of medical research and research in general is done um, based on men and male experiences, especially in healthcare. And then we lead to a lot of information and knowledge gaps as these diseases pertain to women who can present differently than in men, who present symptoms differently than men. So I definitely am interested in this one. Invisible Women, I'm going to add to my TBR for sure. Then we have Target 1. Looks like a thriller. I do not know anything about this. Okay, CIA agent. I'm not interested in like special agents or like detectives. I'm not going to read that one. Things We Never Say. Looks like another thriller. Three Mothers, Three Secrets, One Devastating Scandal. Okay, again, this one's a bit of a long synopsis, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it looks like three women with secrets and scandal. I'm definitely interested in the premise. I do like this kind of domestic thriller type thing, but there's nothing that's standing out too much for me. I've read this type of premise a million times before, so I don't think I will add this one to my TBR. I have too many thrillers that I want to get to, so I'm not too interested in that one. Okay, then we have The Guilty One by Kirsten Modulin, I think you say her name. I have read from this author before, didn't too much enjoy it. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna add this one. This author writes like really fast paced popcorn type thrillers, which I don't tend to really gravitate towards anymore, so not gonna add that one. So from this row, there is one book that I'm gonna add to my TBR. Okay, I feel like I've been talking for a long time, so I'm gonna pick up the pace slightly on this. Next we have Influenced. Okay, a book about social media influencers. Probably don't need to read a whole book about that. The House on Cold Creek Lane. Another thriller. I have not heard about this book or this author, so not gonna add that one. A Marriage of Lies seems again to be pretty standard. A husband and a wife. My husband is lying. He came home with alcohol on his breath. I'm just like, for me, a thriller synopsis has to be stand out for me to pick it up nowadays, and this just seems like every other thriller. A lying couple, Such a Good Family. Again, another one about mothers whose lives are changed. Probably not going to pick up this one. Love Mom. I have heard about this one. I was intrigued. I probably will add this one to my TBR. I didn't currently have it on my TBR, but I have heard good things about it. So I probably will add this one just because I've heard that it's good and the synopsis sounds interesting. So I will add that one. So from this row, we have one that I'm interested in. Okay, in the next row, we have Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine. This one is currently on my physical TBR. I found a copy of this one in a free little library and I was excited to find it. I would like to read it. Okay, next we have Emily Henry. I have never read an Emily Henry book. I'm curious why they're recommending this one. Again, based off of the same four books. Um, I would like to try Emily Henry. I'm not a romance reader, but of course she is so well loved and hyped. I would like to see what the hype is about. Maybe if you enjoy Emily Henry, recommend me in the comments which book you think I should start with. What's your favorite one? If I were to read my first, which Emily Henry book do you think it should be? But for now, I'm not going to add this one to my TBR. Then we have The Fall Risk by Abby Jimenez, another romance. Not going to add that one. The Wedding People, I do want to read. Definitely is currently on my TBR. And then we have Daughter of Mine by Megan Miranda. I am not going to add this one, not because I'm not interested in this author. I just have like 3 or 4 other books from Megan Miranda on my physical TBR. So I will probably read those first. So I don't have any intention of picking up this one anytime soon. So from this row, we have 2 that I'm interested in. Okay, 2 more rows. So next we have Margot's Got Money Troubles. I have heard about this one, but just not interested. Then we have Kate Alice Marshall, A Killing Cold. I did read What Lies in the Woods by this author, and I did not enjoy it at all. The ending just got so convoluted and complicated, and I just completely lost interest. I do usually give authors like 2 or 3 chances, but that book just really wasn't for me. So I have not been interested in picking up any more from this author. I'm also seeing they're recommending her other book, No One Can Know. I'm not going to read that one either. The Heiress by Rachel Hawkins. Again, this author I just don't jive with, so I'm not going to read that one. And same here, Good Bad Girl, Alice Feeney. I know Alice Feeney just isn't the author for me, so I'm not going to read that one. So this row was not too successful. 0 that I'm interested in. Okay, and we're on our last row. I have no clue what this is. 25 days, 25 chapters. Oh, looks like a little bit of a perhaps a Christmas novella. We're so far from Christmas, I don't think I'm gonna add this to my TBR. No plans to currently read that one. Again, an Alice Feeney, not gonna read. Mother Daughter Murder Night. I have heard about this one. It is a Reese Witherspoon book club pick, which I do tend to enjoy, but when this one came out, it just didn't draw me in, and I heard some like pretty lackluster reviews, so I'm not interested in that one either. Okay, and then The Villa by Rachel Hawkins. This one, again, I'm not interested in this author. I do have a copy, but now that I'm seeing it and reminding myself that I don't too much like this author, I think it's time to give that copy to a free little library. And then last up, we have another Christmas book. Not interested in Christmas books just this minute, so not going to be adding that one. So again, on this row, 0 that I'm interested in. Okay, so let's see how we did. In total, they recommended me 50 books, and of the 50 books, I was interested in 13 of them, which is about 26% success rate. So, about a quarter of the books they're recommending me, I'm interested in reading. I would consider that pretty successful. I think for 25% of the books to be ones that I'm actually interested in picking up, I think that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. I was expecting it to be lower than that for sure. I think it was also a good mix of books that I already had on my physical TBR and just TBR in general, as well as books that I had never actually heard of or had on my radar that now I will be adding to my TBR. So that's always fun to get new books and recommendations that way. I think this was a successful concept. It helped me to get some new recommendations. Hopefully, it helped you to look at your recommendations that Goodreads is giving you and see if there's anything that you might be interested in adding. I might also do this with some of the other shelves I have on my Goodreads and see what they're recommending me based off of those books. I do organize my Goodreads based off of year, but then I also have shelves for like my DNFs or my anticipated releases. So I'd be interested to see what they will recommend me based off of those shelves as well. So I might look into that in the future. So overall consensus on Goodreads algorithm is it's decent. It's not too bad. There are definitely some books that I would like to get to that they're recommending, definitely some that I'm not interested in. The one thing I am going to take away from this video is that it's interesting to me that their recommendations are being based off of a very small subset of the books that I have under this shelf, which is interesting. I don't even think that the books that they're recommending me based off of are ones that I even rated very highly. Like they seem to be using Such a Fun Age a lot, which was fine. Word Slut, which was just fine. Notes on an Execution and Yellowface, I did like. But those ones seem to be the most commonly used books, which they weren't my favorites from last year, which is interesting, but nonetheless, it is what it is. So yeah, I think that's it for this video. Let me know in the comments if you got any ideas of books that you want to add to your TBR from this video, or you could also let me know if you have looked at the recommendations that Goodreads provides, if there's any books that you're interested in or that you have added to your TBR based off of their algorithm. That would be interesting to know as well. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.